Creating a model portfolio. To create a model portfolio, click on Research on the left, then click on Portfolios and Composite Benchmarks. This will open up a new tab heading and will take us into the Portfolio Search area. It will then automatically display a list of any portfolios that you've previously created on the system. To create a new model portfolio, click on Create Portfolio in your taskbar, then click on Create Model Portfolio. This will open up in a new tab heading and work your way from top to bottom to complete all of the relevant details regarding the portfolio. You can scroll from top to bottom using your mouse, or on the left hand side you can use our navigation bar. We start with portfolio details. Enter the portfolio's basic details, starting with the reference. This allows you to give the portfolio a name that you can recognise it by. It will also appear on any reports that you produce for the portfolio. You can then select a benchmark to compare the portfolio alongside, and this will be demonstrated in any reports that you produce. Scroll through the list of benchmarks and select the one that's most appropriate. You can then set the status of the portfolio to current, previous or proposed. You can allocate an advisor to the portfolio. Then you have a next review date. Use the calendar to diary forward when you would like to review this portfolio. The overall TER for the portfolio will be driven from all the holdings that we add in. So this will come to life once we add funds. On the right hand side you have a comments box. Type in here whatever you want. This is a free text box. It will not appear in any reports that you produce about this portfolio, so if you do need to make any notes or reminders about the portfolio, pop the details in there. In the bottom right hand corner, you can allow other users in the company to access this portfolio by popping a tick in that box. That will then allow everyone else at your company to use this model portfolio in their client quotes and comparisons. The next section is the Purpose and Risk Profile section. Optionally enter the purpose and risk profile of this portfolio. So this section is optional. Enter an inception date of the portfolio if you would like to include any portfolio tracking going forwards. We do have a video dedicated to portfolio tracking, so if you want to know more about the impact that would have a look at that video. Use the calendar though to enter the inception date. You can then set up a target risk profile for this portfolio. Again, we do have a separate video called Capacity for Loss and Risk, which will take you through the elements of risk profiling available on the system. The next section is asset allocations, and this is all about creating your target asset allocation. In an ideal world then, what would this portfolio look like in terms of asset allocation? So you need to tell us the asset classes you would like to see in the portfolio and the percentages allocated to each asset class. Now with the asset classes, we've broken them down into tiering levels, allowing you to be as high level as you want or as in-depth and specific as you want. And I'll explain what I mean through a bit of an example. If we start at tier 1, you see we have some very high level asset classes. We could just select equity, type a percentage in the allocation box and then add allocation. But if you want to be a bit more specific than just equity, we drill down to the next tiering level here and say, well, within equity, we would like overseas equity. We could leave it here, or we could drill down again to the next tiering level and say, well, within overseas equity, we would like North American equity. Type your percentage in and then add allocation. And you just keep going through, finding all the asset classes and adding the percentage within each asset class. Now you don't have to stick at the same tiering level, you can mix and match across the board to whatever best meets your requirements. So we've reached 100% allocation, and when we have reached 100%, these little arrows light up and become available. Now these are what we call our spinning icon, and if you click on it, it will spin this area around to reveal behind it our target asset allocation pie chart. So in an ideal world, this is what we want our model portfolio to look like. This is our target. And alongside it, we have the current asset allocations for this portfolio. Now at the minute it's 100% unknown because we haven't added any funds into our portfolio. So to do that, we head down to the next section, which is the holdings section. And this is where we add the funds to the model portfolio. To add the funds to the model portfolio, click on Add Fund in the top right hand corner. This will provide a shortcut into our fund research area. Now we do have a video dedicated to fund research which goes into quite a bit of detail in the fund research area, so if you want to know a bit more about that, have a look at that video. For the purposes of this session though, we just want to find the funds that we want to use in our model portfolio. Well, we have this search funds box in the top left hand corner here. You can search for a fund based on a fund name, fund manager's name, fund company, ISIN code, CDL number. There's lots and lots of different ways of searching for a fund. So you type the details in here. So the system has found my first fund I want to add to my portfolio. Now I could at this point click on the fund to highlight it, then click on Add to Portfolio in my taskbar at the top here. However, if I have several funds in my model portfolio, then what I want to do is find all the funds first, then add them all to the portfolio at the same time. So I'm going to search for my second fund, but before I do that, I don't want to lose this fund here, so I'll stick a pin in it. The funds have this little grey pin to the left hand side of them, and if you click on that grey pin, it will turn red to let you know the item has been pinned, and what it does is it keeps that fund in the results grid whilst you search for further funds. So this is my second fund, and if I had any more funds I would pin it, find the next one, pin it, find the next one, and keep going until you've got all your funds in your results grid that you would like to add to your model portfolio. Once you have them all here, we then want to multi-select them so that we can add them to the portfolio at the same time. So to multi-select, hold your control key down. It's normally found in the bottom left hand corner of your keyboard, or if you have an Apple Mac, you need to right click with your mouse and enable multi-select. So now that all the funds have been selected, I'll then click on Add to Portfolio and select the portfolio that I would like to add the funds to. It takes us straight back into the portfolio, and in the holdings section it's now listed all the funds that we've added. To the right, you can just type in the percentage to be added into each fund. Once you reach 100% allocation, we'll then see the current asset allocation come to life. Now, looking at it alongside our target asset allocation, we can see that they're definitely not aligned. Purely just looking at cash content, we can see that we are underweight in cash. If you would like to see the difference between your target asset allocation and your current asset allocation, click on the little arrows in the top right hand corner here. This will then display our target and current variance chart, detailing how underweight and overweight we are in the various asset classes. Now that the portfolio has been created, we can click on Reports and generate a whole host of reports available. We can also then use our model portfolio to generate comparisons, for example alongside a client portfolio, and we can also use it in our client quotes. That's it for creating a model portfolio. Thanks for listening.